I'm for assisted termination of life. Natalie Bollinger was considered mentally ill. Same as me. I wanted to destroy my Facebook and end my life. I wanted to end my life because not only were Natalie and her friends and her predators stalking me and harassing me and assaulting me, my friends were all blowing me off with those pretty words. You just gotta love yourself. If I didn't love myself, I wouldn't be trying to get fucking help. Mandated reporter laws in Colorado are fucked. Completely fucked. The fact that they abused me and denied me the right to a guardian. The fact that my public pretenders, anybody who works for the government, cannot be a guardian. The reason for this is because they will not act in your best interest. An attorney, if you have enough money, will act in your best interest. A public defender will not. These people didn't have to do their jobs because they were able to keep me from being allowed access to my medical records, from having the resources needed to get those, to deny me access to my legal rights, to a victim's advocate, my legal rights to turn in my predators. But why were they able to get away with it? Because I had to always go in alone. Jai Rogers and Detective Peterson, the conversation that I had with them, every conversation with them is supposed to be recorded, every single one. So if they omit any, even a single one, they're fucked. Now, I did call them about all the things that they told me to call them about. They blew me off every single time. See, these guys worked across multiple jurisdictions, not only to threaten, harass, and intimidate myself, but also people like Candace Bondurant, who hates me for it. You goddamn right I cursed her out. And you guys know that in the state of Oregon, you can smoke marijuana in public? It's amazing. I don't hide it. A lot of people are really well invested in trying to convince you not to look at any of the evidence. That's what the mentally ill tag does. That is its purpose. Mentally ill is not a diagnosis. It's a misrepresentation intended to discredit victims. That is all. Do you know that PTSD, you can get PTSD from being raped, and then your rapist can discredit you because you're mentally ill? Why is it impossible for somebody who is called mentally ill to get justice? Because everyone knows that they can victimize us and we're automatically discredited. We don't count, we don't matter. They can commit felonies, they can commit misdemeanors, they can literally outright murder you. Look what they did to Tibor today. Look what they did to Elijah McClain. Look at the situations that I have been forced into. Very scary, very volatile. I had to wait until there was no screaming to record anything. And of course, by that point, I am so scared from listening to that screaming. I just want to scream for help. It's Shannon Alvarado's. All that screaming. You got to hear Rick screaming and being completely irrational. I needed help getting an advocate. As a developmentally disabled individual, it is my right. Now, I waived that right when I spoke to Rogers and Peterson. Why did I waive that right? Because there was no time. You have a limited amount of time to do this. You have a limited amount of time before it's too late. And you guys didn't get that. Well, you guys were arguing on Facebook. Natalie was still alive and you needed to go fucking find her. I didn't reach out to you guys for you to argue with people. I reached out to you because I wanted Natalie Bollinger to be okay. You see how difficult it is to make a phone call. You see how difficult it is to make sure that it's recorded. It's too much. I collect the evidence faster than I can post it. I have severe anxiety listening to or working on any of this. The Bollingers and their friends bullied me to the point that I wanted my life to end. I was already suicidal over the abuse from Boulder Police Department and the neglect of my loved ones. It's not the predators that make people suicidal, ever. It's the people who blew them off when they went to them for help. When I spoke to that officer when they took me to the hospital in Chesapeake, Oregon in 2016, the last time I saw Natalie Bollinger was on my birthday, October 18th. It was hot as fuck. Those of you in Nebraska, you ain't never gone anywhere, well, you don't know. Natalie and Alicia, not only was I taken to the hospital for a medical emergency, Natalie and Alicia Bollinger knew that I was having that medical emergency on my birthday before we ever went anywhere. I was not in any sort of physical or mental condition for any of that. I was afraid of going to the hospital because when you're homeless, hospitals tend to treat you like you're a junkie. I needed help. I was stranded, and Alicia was being so mean about a phone that she gave me for my birthday. Do you give people gifts for their birthday if they're stalking you? Do you tell them that you love them if they're stalking you? Do you invite them to Elliot's Coffee Grounds if they're stalking you? Do you tell them you're not even going to get on the plane to go to Virginia if they're stalking you? I gotta turn this in, but I can't. I gotta wait for the clouds to clear so that my other laptop full of evidence doesn't also get destroyed. Yes, these things are my fault. It is my fault that first computer full of evidence was destroyed. The one that Brandon Ratner was there with me when I got. I told true stories, and these people just simply couldn't take the time. They wanted to talk about themselves. With Brandon Ratner, it's always talking about the new woman he's chasing. And goddamn, they use the shit out of him. They won't date him. They just know that he's a nice guy and he'll do shit for him. And the fact is, and I hate to say this because he really is a hell of a nice guy. He gives guys like me a bad name. He's helping these women because he wants some vagina. He's lonely. I'm lonely too. I just don't want that kind of a relationship. The problem is that that kind of a relationship is what both men and women are loyal to in most situations. Tabitha Michelle Cook didn't do anything wrong. Graham did. But then, Graham, this Christian, well, he couldn't even fess up to his own wrongdoings knowing that it was recorded. And Tabby is angry at me because of a situation that isn't her fault, isn't her doing. She was good to me. But she was not okay with me being honest about Graham. She never tried to come forward. You have to do it in person. You know, I've recorded on multiple occasions where I have taken evidence and showed evidence to officers, showed them I was telling the truth, showed them what you people wrote, and they said, oh, well, how do I know you didn't write it? Some of them even have the phone numbers on them. I'm like, we can call them. Their phone number's right on it. The mandated reporter laws in Nebraska are a little more on par with what it should be. See, here's the thing about John Apolius. John Apolius should have had charges pressed against him. I wish I knew why Rihanna hated David Roop so much. I'm going to tell you something. Rihanna forgave people that raped her. Okay? She was a very loving person, despite being a raging alcoholic. When I knew her, she was too young to drink. She was my boss's stepdaughter. It was Doug Cowden. He was my older brother's best friend in Chapel, Nebraska. Doug Cowden and Eric Schwartz. Doug Cowden and Eric Schwartz. Doug Cowden and Eric Schwartz. Let me tell you what Rihanna thought of Eric Schwartz. Let me tell you how much Rihanna hated Eric Schwartz. She didn't. She was afraid of him. She thought he was a jackass. She thought he was an asshole. But she also once told me that she knew that if somebody did something to her, she could come to me or my older brother. All right, so let me tell you about the first investigation I ever did. That was for Jason Jeffson. Big J. He said, Schwartz, I know you wouldn't never steal nothing. Somebody's been stealing my stuff. Brandy thinks I might have misplaced it somewhere or left it somewhere absent-mindedly. But if you hear anything, let me know. Well, the only people who really ever talk to me are alcoholics or drug addicts, so probably a pretty good chance that I'll run into that shit. So what happened? Well, I was over visiting Crystal. I believe I want to say Boyansky, but there's a lot of Crystals on my Facebook friends list, so I'm not 100% for certain. This is Tom Nelson's ex-wife. Oh, I gotta stop my...
We actually had to close our lobby, Sean.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not even supposed to let you back in. So that's why I can't have you really leaving your stuff in the lobby for that long a period of time without anything. So
yes, ma'am.
I need you to get your stuff like ASAP, please.
Yes,
okay?
ma'am. Thank you. All right. See, I can't do it. I'm trying, but the rules, the regulations, at least some of my stuff is charged. I gotta go.